Look at this woman for a moment. She has long golden red hair, pearl around her neck, expensive looking clothes, jewelry on her fingers, and a small silver mirror in her hand. Behind her, there are dark leaves and bunches of ripe grapes. Everything about this painting looks beautiful. Rich, elegant, almost luxurious, but then you look at the title Vanity, and suddenly the entire painting starts to feel different. Because this isn't simply a beautiful portrait of a young woman, it's a painting about beauty, luxury, pleasure, and the uncomfortable truth that none of these things last forever. This is Vanity, painted by the English artist Frank Cardigan Cooper in 1907. The painting is an oil on panel measuring about 57.1 by 38.1 centimeters, and it is now part of the collection of the Royal Academy of Arts in London. But before we look closely at the woman, let's talk about the man who painted her. Frank Cardigan Cooper was born in England in 1877 and studied at the Royal Academy Schools. He became known for highly detailed paintings filled with the historical, literary, and romantic subjects. His early work was strongly influenced by the Pre-Raphaelite, and he became associated with what is sometimes described as the second generation of Pre-Raphaelite artists. He was eventually nicknamed the last of the Pre-Raphaelites. Cooper wasn't simply copying the past. By the beginning of the 20th century, he was increasingly fascinated by the Italian Renaissance, and you can see that influence very clearly in Vanity. Now look at the woman. The first thing you probably notice in her hair. It's long, golden, and reddish, falling naturally over her shoulders. Her eyes are almost closed, and her expression is incredibly calm. She isn't smiling, she isn't looking directly to us, and she doesn't seem to be dramatically reacting to anything around her. Instead, she almost appears lost in her own quiet world. This is interesting because the painting is called Vanity. We might expect a woman representing vanity to be staring proudly at herself in a mirror, but Cooper makes the situation much more ambiguous. The mirror is there, but her gaze doesn't clearly tell us that she is admiring her reflection, and that uncertainty makes us look more closely. Now look at the small object in her hand. It's a silver hand mirror. A mirror is one of the most traditional symbols associated with vanity in European art. It represents self-image, appearance, and our fascination with the way we look. And then Cooper gave his woman something else. Pearls. There is a long string of pearl around her neck, and more pearls appears around her hands. Jewelry, pearl, luxurious fabric, and a mirror. The painting is practically surrounded by objects associated with the beauty and wealth. But there is something fascinating about the way Cooper presents all of this. He doesn't make the woman look obvious arrogant, instead she looks peaceful, almost dreamlike. And this is where the title becomes important. The word vanity connects this painting to a much older artistic tradition called vanitas. Vanitas painting became particularly popular in 16th and 17th century in Europe. Their purpose was to remind viewers that early Parisians' beauty, wealth, and pleasure are temporary. In other words, you can possess beauty things, but you cannot keep them forever. And Cooper takes that old idea and transformed it into a beautiful early 20th century painting. The Royal Academy specifically explained the painting in these terms: the beautiful woman and the ripe grapes behind her may flourish now, but neither can remain beautiful forever. And that's where the grapes become important. Look carefully at the background. It's dark and almost mysterious, but hidden among the leaves and bunches of ripe grapes. Grapes can suggest abundance, richness, and earthly pleasure, but grapes also have a very obvious limitations. They ripen and eventually they decay. So while the woman appears young and beautiful, the grapes quietly remind us that beauty and pleasure are temporary. The woman and the fruit are connected by the same idea. Both are beautiful because they are alive and flourishing now, but neither can remain that way forever. And then there is the clothing. This is the where Cooper's fascination with the history becomes really obvious. The woman's outfit isn't simply a modern 1907 dress, it's a mixture of different periods. Her furniture, the narrow jeweled band across her forehead, is based on a style associated with Renaissance Italy. At the same time, the silver mirror and the string of pearls reflect fashion similar to the early 20th century. So Cooper is essentially mixing two words together, the word of Renaissance Italy and the word in which he himself was living. And the result is a woman who doesn't belong completely to either period. She feels almost timeless. And now look at the incredibly complicated pattern on her clothing. The black and gold fabric creates twisting serpentine shapes across the sleeves. It's extremely decorative and this wasn't accidental. Cooper was known for paying extraordinary attention to the detail of the fabric and accessories. The painting isn't just about the woman's face, the fabric matters, the pearl matters, the mirror matters, the grape matters, even the color arrangement matters. Now look again at the woman's face, her red lip, her pale skin, her long hairs, her closed eyes. The figure has a strong resemblance to the type of female beauty associated with the pre-Raphaelite artist of 19th century. That's what makes Vanity much more complicated than a simple portrait, and there is eventually an interesting story behind Cooper's relationship with this painting. When Vanity was exhibited at the Royal Academy in 1907, it became a major success for him. Cooper wrote to his mother that both Vanity and other paintings exhibited that year were a terrific success. An art dealer named Joseph Devane wanted to buy the painting, but Cooper became very attached to it after he had sold it. He eventually bought it back in 1921 because it was one of the paintings he really wanted to keep, and there is something almost ironic about that. Remember that the painting is called Vanity. The painting tells us that beauty and patience don't last forever, yet the artist himself cared enough about this particular painting to buy it back. Eventually, Cooper gave the work to the Royal Academy collection where it became part of his artistic legacy.